something crosses the road. It's skeletal like, fleshy, and it stands up, and then it like kind of just almost like leaps.
They look back and they see one. Clear as day. It walked 5 feet away from my audio recorder. We just saw a Bigfoot. Holy crap.
I've been pinched, I've been tapped on the shoulder, I've had my name hollered, a hand came up underneath my left arm. I said, little son of a bitch tried to get me. That was the time that I decided you don't sleep inside that building.
Did you see that?
The cowcur, it's big, it's white, and it runs faster than any man could ever run. And it would lean out behind the tree. And that's why we never go out, because the booger will get you.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Exploring the Unknown. I'm Dustin.
I'm Luke.
And we are the hosts with the most ghosts. You know, I don't think that we've been carrying on that tradition, you know. I think there's been several episodes that we have not said that. I really wanted that to be a thing, but I'm feeling like it's going to fade away.
No, we'll make sure it's a thing.
Today's guest is none other than Charles Rosene, a name that resonates with fans of the paranormal, horror enthusiasts, and music aficionados alike. Known as Crypt Master Chucky, Charles is a renowned author, a Dracula tour guide extraordinaire, and a host of some of the most exciting horror conventions around. So get ready to sink your teeth into this exciting episode as we dive in.
You ready to get into this episode?
Let's do it. Hello.
You can talk now.
Can you guys hear me?
We can. I can. Yes.
Okay. Thank goodness. I don't want to interrupt anything. So you guys go ahead, keep doing your thing, and I'll chime in.
We touched upon the Dracula Tours to Transylvania, which I do every year. I've been doing that now 26 years. www.dractours.com. We do 1 week, haunted vacations which are vampire vacations, horror, monster, all aficionados who want to take the ultimate trip to Eastern Europe and experience a 1 week tour that combines the lore and fiction of Dracula through Bram Stoker's Dracula novel, and combine it with the legacy and history of Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also just began talking about the paranormal conventions we do. We do Paracon with 2 N's here in Connecticut. This year it's the only paranormal convention in the state. And we've been doing that for a few years now, and it's going to be taking place July 20th and 21st in Stratford, Connecticut.
That's awesome. I wish I could make it down there. Unfortunately, I don't think that I'll be able to go. But definitely in the future, I want to book one of them Dracula tours. That would be really cool. Have you ever had any paranormal encounters on one of these tours?
Well, that's interesting because we don't do the Dracula tour from that paranormal slant. Mm-hmm. It's a combination of monster fans and history, and the people who go are more like us. We're all into the horror stuff, into the monster stuff, and we're just going to have a great time, not necessarily bringing meters or spirit boxes or paranormal investigation stuff with us. So that's like a different element of enjoyment and of vacationing, but not so much. I mean, if someone wanted to go on the trip and bring equipment or do any kind of investigations or anything like that, we would welcome it. It just really hasn't been done in the past.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I heard you talking about the Dracula Tours on some other podcasts. I can't remember what the name of the place was where they believed Vlad to be buried. Is that?
Yeah, called Snagov Monastery. You have to go over a moat to get to this little island, and there's a church there, There's a crazy monk who runs the whole island. It's a farm and everything else. And it's set in a really interesting rural area of Romania, outside of Transylvania, where for years and years it was like outhouses and homes that were more like huts and horse and buggies. And because it's waterfront, over the past 25 years, it's built up to where it's now more of like a resort area, and all the properties are high end. But this monastery on this island is still there. You still have to cross the water to get to it. And when they excavated the land and exhumed this, where he was buried, they found a combination of human bones and animal bones, and no skull, no head there. So very, very freaky.
That is freaky, because they say that in order for the vampire to not come back, you have to bury the head separately. Isn't that right?
And that's exactly what the case is. It's just the head was separated from the rest of the body, of the bones and skeleton. Very, very crazy.
Yeah, that would be so cool to see.
So cool, yeah. People absolutely, they love going to Snagov because that's where the monastery is. They love going to Shigasura, where where Vlad was born. I mean, that's his birthplace. It's a walled city. And they absolutely go Bran Castle, Briarian, where Vlad was supposedly held captive. He was a prisoner there for a little while. But if you think of like the ultimate Dracula castle, and you envision this gigantic Gothic statuesque building with an amazing facade, we go there. It's Bran Castle. It's one of the most amazing tourist attractions in Eastern Europe. And we also, pass the fortress where it's called Monastery Castle, where Vlad actually, it was his home, it was his castle, it was his, fortitude there. And it's a way, way up above on a hill, and he would overlook the whole countryside so that he had any kind of a view if he was ever going to get invaded or if anything was going on that wasn't, to his liking. So he was quite the ruler. He was the inspiration for Dracula. So it all makes sense with his impalings and the bloodshed, that the tour combines both elements. So we do it this year, October 28th to November 4th, and we're still taking reservations.
Awesome. Now, do you get to spend the night in the castle, or?
Well, so if you go on the trip, each night is another experience. We'll spend some time in Bucharest, we'll spend some time in Brasov, we'll spend some time in Sibiu. Sibiu is interesting because it's got this one place that somehow connects Mary Shelley of Frankenstein and Dracula. It's the one tomb. For years we stayed in what was called Dracula's castle, and it wasn't either his real castle or this Bran Castle, which I talked about earlier. It wasn't Bran Castle at all, but it was this tourist location that was set up atop Borgo Pass, up the Carpathian Mountains, so that people had the experience as if they were staying at Dracula's castle. It hasn't reopened yet since COVID, so we're hoping it will open again, and we'll do that. But no, we stay in all kind of other places besides that.
That's really cool. There was a restaurant that I remember you talking about. That's all Dracula themed, and at the end of the dinner, they shut the lights off. So, what was the name of that place?
How long ago was that interview? Because that also closed during COVID. It was called Count Dracula Restaurant, and we loved it because right at the end, we had dinner, then dessert, and all of a sudden you hear the creepiest music. It was actually some theme music from the Gary Oldman, Bram Stoker's Dracula movie. And then an actor would come out and, howl at the moon, creatures of the night. And he would do the perfect accent. And then he would pull out one volunteer, well, not a volunteer, he would make it a volunteer. He'd pull one person from our group and sort of take take them upstairs into his lair. And it was really amazing. Everywhere you looked was like Dracula memorabilia and amazing movie props and all that. I hope that reopens because that was I loved going there. I went there. We've been doing it, as I mentioned, last year was the 25th year. I went kind of the first 12 or 13 years as the host. And now the host is actually a Romanian guy named Radu, who's not only a big monster guy like I am, like we are. He loves the horror, gets it all, but he's also a true historian, so that when people go on the tour, they're really getting their money's worth because they're not just getting the stuff that we love and, the Dracula, vampire, all that, but they're also getting the history of the land and the politics and everything that, happened from Romanian's history right up until today.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I really do hope that place does open back up because that would be a very unique experience. I mean, the whole thing sounds like it would be a unique experience. There's not a lot of things out there like that.
People go on that and they have like the greatest time of their lives. They just, come back raving and, oh, this was amazing. And they tell their friends about it. And some will go back, after 5 years, 10 years, whatever, and go back again because they have such a great time. And what it is, it's people are kindred spirits. It's people who love the same thing going on a tour. And whether they go alone and they're single, whether they go with couples, whether they're going with their families or in groups, they come back and just, rave about it. They have the greatest time.
Yeah. Does the package include like round trip airfare or travel or anything like that?
It does. So it's a set price, and you have an option of either flying with the group out of New York, and then it includes, or you can opt to fly on your own if you'd rather go from a different part of the world. Most people from the U.S. will travel together out of Kennedy Airport, JFK, where we leave as a group, and everyone gets to be with it from, departure till return. But it also, besides that, it includes all the admissions, all the tour guides, the land transportation. We travel by luxury coach everywhere. It includes all the hotels. It includes all the breakfasts. Includes most dinners. Literally, if you don't buy souvenirs and you don't want the extra meals, it's like all inclusive. It's the most amazing value for what we offer.
That's really cool. Now, I'm not sure if you guys talked about this before I was able to get involved in the conversation, but like, how did you get involved in all this? Like, what really set all this off?
Believe it or not, years before that, I was doing Beatles tours to Liverpool because I'm a big music guy and I love the Beatles. I love early rock and roll and all that. And those were so successful that my buddy goes, hey, what else do you love? What else? Wouldn't you want to do any other kind of tours? And I said, well, yeah, I love horror stuff, but I don't think I can bring people to Transylvania. He goes, why not? And we did the research and found that there was no other tours like this ever. And we go, well, why don't we do it? Why don't we really take the bull by the horns, hook up with Romanian land package tour people, and put together the type of tour that we would want to do if we could go on a tour. And that's what we did. We put all the elements together. And, that's it just from the first year on, people loved it. And we said, oh, we got something pretty special here. We're going to have to do this year after year. And sure enough, people who went, loved it so much that they had us branch out. We started doing tours to England and Ireland and Scotland and other similar themed tours, which were more, ghost, more horror, more paranormal and supernatural than the Dracula ones. But I can tell you, there's nothing more fun than if you go on one of these tours as in a group and you're with people who love the same stuff you love. It's really wow.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, I seen that you did some other tours. You had sent another website, the Ghost Tours, Ghostours.
Yes, good research. Most people will spell Ghost Tours as two separate words with two T's, but the coolness of it, yeah, we came up with Ghost Tour and Ghost Tours with the one T. Yeah, I'm going to do a rundown. This is going to blow your mind. We did Ghost Tours to England, Ireland, Scotland, Romania, Hungary, Prague, East Germany, which was our Frankenstein tour, Israel, Cuba, and I'm forgetting one other or two others. And each one of those was basically because people went on the Dracula tour, had such a great time, and it was like, hey, Charles, can we do something else? Can we do another fun event? This was so amazing. And sure enough, it was a lot of the same people. And sure, we get new people also, but a lot of the core of the people who went on these ghost tours were people who'd been on prior tours, had such an amazing time that they wanted to go again. And that was really the impetus of doing all the what we called the ghost tours, which were just an extension, literally, of the Dracula tours. They were just more themed, tours of terror, week-long vacations where the people who, love this kind of stuff just jumped at the opportunity to do more of it.
Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah.
Now you're also an author too. You got a couple of books out there.
Yeah. So during COVID, more than anything else, I wasn't able to do any of the tours. I wasn't able to do, a lot of the productions and none of the conventions, none of the promotions. And I'm thinking, what can I do? And for some reason, I've always written. I've always had a love for writing and editing, and I have a degree in art and background in studio art. And I thought, well, you know what? I think it's the time of my life where it's time to put out a few books. And the first book I put out, being the monster lover that I was the book of horror lists. And unlike any other book that's out there, it was a lot of research, only because it wasn't me coming up with the lists. What I did is I found 100 celebrities to give me their top 10 themed lists. 100 celebrities, anyone from every aspect of horror movies, rock and rollers, athletes. We have lists from William Shatner, from Boris Karloff's daughter Sarah, from Eddie Munster, Butch Patrick, from one of the Monkees, one of the Beatles, a ton of rock and roll Hall of Famers, a baseball Hall of Famer, a lot of scream queens, stars of movies. And they gave the most interesting lists. And it wasn't just a top 10 list of, my favorite movie is this one, that one, da-da-da. It was giving reasons why they picked each thing. So if someone put, their favorite movie was The Exorcist or Halloween, they also then gave the reason why that was their favorite. And it wasn't just one listing, it was top 10. So each celebrity gave 10 choices and the reasons why. The people love the book. The book's been a big success. We sell it at, I sell it at, conventions where I'll set up and sign autographs and all that. We do book signings. I sign it at libraries and do a lot of podcasts where people hear about it and they really want to have the book because it's such a unique theme. There's so many other books out there, but nothing where 100 celebrities, give their top 10 favorite horror lists. What I'll do is if I'll do like a talk or a convention, someone will come up and go, oh man, I love Frankenstein, or I love Friday the 13th. I'll go, oh cool, let me go in the back of the book. There's this amazing index, and every movie that's listed or every theme that's listed, I'll say, oh wow, you love that one? Well, so did Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong, or you're a big fan of John Carpenter. Well, so is, and then I'll give them, the list of people who also picked that particular movie or theme or whatever, they pick. Some of the people, thought out of the box and they did their favorite theme song movies. Some did their favorite slasher kills. Some did, I don't know what, their favorite things that scare them in life, things like that. So everyone had, kind of carte blanche to pick what things they wanted to do, but most of them did, favorite horror movies.
Yeah. Really interesting to gain some insight on some of the people that I kind of look up to on what their preferences are.
So it's called, the official title is Monsters, Celebrities, Actors, Athletes, and Rock Stars, the Book of Top 10 Horror Lists. But everyone knows it as, the Book of Top 10 Horror Lists. And the website for it is www.bookofTop10, and it's the number 10, not TEN, bookoftop10horrorlists.com. And I use that as the reference point because most people want to get the book, want to get it signed. And, I love signed copies of them. Otherwise, you can get it on Amazon. If you look up my last name, Rosenay, Rosenay, it lists all my books. And believe it or not, I've got 4 out. So loving this whole process of putting out books and then coming on shows to talk about them.
Yeah, we had thought about getting into the book writing. The one book though, that you got that I was interested in was the True Ghost Stories of Connecticut. Is there a way I can get a signed copy of that?
Oh, absolutely. The website for that is www.paranormalconnecticut.com. That's where to get, through there you can get the signed copy. Other people obviously get it on Amazon if they don't want a copy. I'll tell you what's unique about, you guys are both from Pennsylvania?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's unique about this is you don't, even though it's called True Ghost Stories of Connecticut, you don't have to be from Connecticut to love it. This could be True Ghost Stories of Gettysburg, True Ghost Stories of Hershey. It could be any particular area where people had unbelievable paranormal experiences that they were able to share their ghost stories. And I didn't want anyone, and I did a few chapters myself, I didn't want it embellished. I didn't want someone to write it to try to make it scarier. I didn't want them to add to. The criteria was 2-part. 1, that it had something to do with Connecticut. 2, that it was true. And when I mentioned, some of the cities in Pennsylvania, the reason I did that is there should be a book like this in every area. There should be True Ghost Stories of Cherry Hill. There should be everywhere, because what we find is there's so many of these books out that will list the scariest places in an area or the most haunted places, and it'll say what the name of the place is and what their history is. Well, I wanted to go one step further. What happened to actual people who are alive and can tell their story? What happened to them at these places? And I wish there was a series of these books, because to get firsthand paranormal accounts by the individuals who experienced the occurrences, that's what I love. That's what I want to read about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we enjoy most about talking to people on this podcast is hearing firsthand encounters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever had any firsthand paranormal encounters?
Yeah. Funny because, I list some of them in the book, and I'm part of a paranormal team called the Shaman and the Showman. The Shaman is Thomas Gormley, who's been in the paranormal world for over 40 years. He's also a true crime serial killer expert. I mean, he's the man. He's got clairvoyance. He's an empath. He's the shaman of the team. I'm the showman. I'm like the fun guy, the guy who loves to talk. I'm the raconteur. I'm the one who, promotes and does all this. And going into the whole paranormal world, which I'm, relatively new in, this exploring the paranormal and exploring the unknown was was a foreign entity to me for the longest time. I've only been in it for 5 or 10 years, and I've just jumped in full force. I do paranormal investigations with Thomas as as the shaman and the showman. I produce the conventions. I've written the book, but this hasn't been my whole life. Mind you, I had one of my most amazing paranormal experiences back when I was in college. It was called The Pink Lady of New Haven, and I actually saw a ghost and didn't remember it for years until I started writing the book and said, hey, I got to get a great chapter in here. And I thought, whoa, what about that? Wrote it up and actually sent it to my buddy who was with me at the time and said, hey, have I gotten this right? And he's like, whoa, yeah, to the word. It is exactly what happened. And so, yeah, I've had amazing experiences, one back in college and one more recently, a lot more recently, as I've been, very much drenched in the whole paranormal world now. Literally every time we go out on an expedition, we have results. I mean, we don't do it just by ourselves. We bring, groups, 10, 20 people, whatever. We'll go for dinner. If they're new, we teach them how to use paranormal equipment. If they've done ghost hunts before, they bring their own, spirit boxes and meters and all that. And then we pick a place that we go to and spend a few hours there. We try to do that every other month. We try to do like 5, 6 investigations a year. And guys, we always get results. It's scary how scary the results are. And it's scary sometimes some of the stuff that just comes through. It's new to me, and for years I was skeptical. Even though I had an experience way back, I was still skeptical. I was like, there's got to be scientific reasons, and in some cases there are, but in most cases, no. It's unexplained stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now
Right?
Now what would you say your favorite location you've been to was?
Oh, great question. It might be a place called Dudleytown. Because growing up, I had always heard about Dudleytown, but didn't quite know its history. Just knew that it was a place to stay away from because it was called Cursed Land, and there was a lot of occult, demonic stuff there years after. And also, bikers would go there and a lot of uncool stuff. But when I finally, started getting into the paranormal world and was able to go with people who I trusted and knew the layout of the land. So finally we did not 1, not 2, but 3 visits to this place called Dudleytown. And after the 3rd visit, believe it or not, I got a cease and desist legal order from the town not to do this anymore. What you hike up this Connecticut trail, and you just keep going, and finally you come to this giant patch of land. Now, Dudleytown was settled by the Dudley family, who apparently were thrown out of England. When we won the war, and they sent over a lot of their people to help settle parts of New England, parts of the East Coast, and parts of the United States. They didn't send their most desirable people. They didn't send, high-end royalty. They sent the worst of the worst. And this Dudley family was out of their minds. I mean, between being evil, incest, inbreeding, finally they were killing each other and wound up killing themselves. That all that was left really were the ruins of Dudleytown. So I can see why it was a cursed land, and I can see why people who were not of the right frame of mind or were looking to do demonic or, not so cool things would go there. But when we went there, we went as hikers. We were paranormal people going as students, just checking out the area. When we got to this open patch that I'm talking about, guys, all of a sudden, you knew you were in a different zone. No more birds were flying from tree to tree. There was no cricket sounds. It was like death. And a few things happened. They're in my book. I tell the stories. But the one thing that I love telling, because it's so funny, but it's so wow, is there was this one guy on the trip with us on the investigation, and he was rolling his eyes. He was checking his watch. When is this over? He was trying to get on his phone to so that he can just, waste time and be on his phone. Pointing to me. Why are you pointing to me? Because I'm the only one who doesn't believe this shit? Because I'm the only one who's, the skeptical, the non-believer? And we go, no, dude, we're pointing to you because your hair is being pulled straight up in the air for no reason. And we all took pictures. We showed him. He couldn't believe it. It was him standing there, and his hair that was flattened down was all of a sudden straight up in the air, like a straight up mohawk.
Oh, wow.
And he believed that from that point on. And then we had and people saw shadow figures. People saw crazy stuff. There's one girl from Jersey who had been with us, and she said she'd been on every possible Penhurst, you name it, she's been there. And she always wanted to go to Dudleytown, but never could, and went with us. And she said she never felt, she's a psychic, she's a medium. She never felt such heaviness on her heart. She had to sit down. She had trouble walking into that open area. And it was like very overwhelming for her. So yeah, if I had to point to one place that was stand out, that really, really did a number on everyone who went and it was most memorable, it would be Dudleytown. I think if anyone wants to Google Dudleytown, there's a lot to read about it, but to have experienced it firsthand, that was it. That was amazing.
Where did you say that was? Dudleytown is in what state?
It's in Connecticut. It's a suburb. It's a hamlet of Cornwall, Cornwall. Most of the stuff I do is regional. All the paranormal investigations I do, because we have a group of Connecticut folks who want to come on them and always want to go to different places. I tend to stay within the state. And, people say, oh my gosh, you've probably gone to every place already. Not even close. I mean, every week we discover new places that have histories, that have, energy, that have spirits and ghosts and are haunted. And it's just a case of, sometimes getting permission or, finding the right person who will let us do an investigation. There's a lot of scenarios where we would be in more places if we had, just the thumbs up and the go ahead.
Yeah. There's a house out there that they had made a movie out of, right? A Haunting in Connecticut or something.
Yeah. I know it well. It's in Southington, Connecticut. I visited there, knocked on the door, said hello. The family was so nice. They said, you know what? We've never had an experience since we've moved in. I asked if we can bring, some paranormal investigation. They go, no, because if it's been settled, we don't want to raise it up again. We don't want to, mix it up so that they come to visit again. Right. It was the Haunting in Connecticut home. It's right across from a cemetery. And we wanted to do a paranormal investigation at that cemetery where we would then look at the house, but not actually go inside and try to connect all of that. And the people of the town just did not want it.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that would be crazy to get all up and going again if it settled down.
Yeah. And the thing is, we always have utmost respect. We won't go a place and break in. We won't go to a place where, they don't want it. Under no circumstances would we ever do anything like that. And it's been good because our reputation is solid. But if there's a place that is all of a sudden having, entities and unknown paranormal visits and ghosts and maybe unwanted anomalies, we're going to go and we'll do what we can to do a cleansing, and we will never charge for that. We always want to do that because it's the right thing to do. And if a place needs it, there's not even a minute's hesitation. and we will not take money to make that happen.
Yeah, that's really cool, you guys.
Now, going back to the horror thing, what's your favorite horror icon?
Once again.
Oh boy, my favorite horror movie of all time is the one that, believe it or not, most of the 100 celebrities picked in my book of top 10 horror lists. The ultimate terrible top 10 list. The top 5 were The Exorcist, Psycho, The Shining, Frankenstein, and Dracula. And The Exorcist is on the top of my list. But right now, if you said, "Hey, what do you want to go watch? What movie haven't your kids seen, and what would I want to show them?" Believe it or not, it would be Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. What's the first one I remember? That has a special place in my heart. Well, my mom showed me Bride of Frankenstein, so that always will resonate. What is the first movie that gave me nightmares? A non-horror movie, actually, a thriller called Wait Until Dark with Alan Arkin and Audrey Hepburn. What's my current favorite that I keep going back to? Maybe A Quiet Place, and I'm really psyched for the new one. So I can't say a favorite because I have so many favorites that fit different reasons why. Yeah. And, when I finished the book, that was my first book, guys, book of top 10 horror lists. And I brought it to the editor, and they went through it and, made sure there wasn't any mistakes and everything was in its place and everything was proper and all the graphics looked amazing. And they said, "This isn't finished, right?" I go, "Why not?" They go, "Well, where's your list?" I go, So I thought I'd be real cheeky, and what I did, believe it or not, is I do a lot of movies. I act. I've been in a lot of horror films and shorts. So I did a little ego thing, and I put my favorite personal roles, the movies and horror shorts that I've been in. So that was my top 10 list. I had to do something a little different, and went with that.
That's really cool. When you say The Exorcist, is that the original one or is that the newer one?
Of course, it's not the current one. Not the one that came out a few years ago. Yeah, the original Exorcist with Linda Blair. That is, that's the gem of all. And, if you were around in those days, my gosh, people were fainting. People were running out of the theater. The lines were forever. But, it caused such a sensation that people who saw it at the time, it stays with them forever. And look at how many movies were based on that, So every possession movie, every, everything since, it came from that. That was so breakthrough.
Yeah. And I had a question. I just lost it. It was right there. Oh, that's right. What movies were you in? If there might be some that I might know.
Oh gosh, so I've been in a lot of real grade Z films. I've been in some that you might know the other people. I was in a movie called it was Tom Savini from Dusk to Dawn, the great horror makeup guy. I was in a movie with him called The Sadist. I was in another horror movie called Pink Eye. I've been in a whole series of episodes of the Zombie Chronicles. My most mainstream things that I've been in aren't horror. I was in HBO's Flight of the Conchords, where I played an Elton John impersonator. And the most recent films I've been in, which have been in the theaters and are available on Blu-ray and are out there. One is called Night of the Eagle Inn, which I'm really proud of. If you find that one, you can probably even download it and watch it online. Night of the Eagle Inn, I got to play, which is something I've never, ever even... the director and the filmmakers and the casting, they were brilliant for casting. I would never see myself. I play a cross-dressing psychotic debutante.
Oh, wow.
and in the follow, there's another film they did more recently, which was in the theaters, called Founders Day, which you guys probably heard of. And Founders Day, I think it came out a little after the last, was it before or after Thanksgiving? Because, you know, there's Halloween, there's Thanksgiving, there's all these films, Happy New Year's Day of you know, events. And this was Founders Day. And I'm more of an extra in this one. I don't have a real big scene, but I do have a talking scene, and I'm part of the crowd scene. But I love that. Give me the opportunity. The most recent thing I filmed was called Ding Dong Ditch, and that hasn't come out yet. But I'd rather have, you know, a short cameo where I'm in a real cool scene, and I get to have, you know, a credit in the film, rather than you know, somewhere where I have to learn 40 lines and really have to master the delivery and all that. You know, I don't consider myself a true actor. I consider myself a personality who gets into movies because I'm real pushy and you know, I have the gift of gab. But everything I've done, I'm really proud of. And there's a lot out there. If you go to IMDb, I have a list of some of the films I've been in and some of the credits of the short films. I played a mad scientist in Dead Survivors with a Z. I played a hotel clerk in The Passenger. Just a lot of stuff that I don't think you've heard of and most of the world hasn't heard of.
I think I've heard of The Passengers. I'm interested in seeing. You said it's called The Night of the Eagle Inn.
Night at the Eagle Inn.
Night at the Eagle Inn. Yeah, I want to see that. That sounds.
I don't know if you saw that. What happens is a brother and sister get trapped in this hotel they can't really get out of. It's the Eagle Inn.
Oh, wow.
And as they're making their way through this hotel and making their way through meeting the characters that are there, you don't know who's alive, you don't know who's dead, but in their room, the TV goes on, and I'm on the monitor, and I'm telling them that they're never going to get out, and I'm in this really crazy, creepy, eerie voice. You'll get a kick out of it.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah. I think my dad, he was an extra in a movie. I can't think of the name. I want to say it was like Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead or something like that. It was filmed here.
That was probably filmed in the Pittsburgh area.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Those are classics. That's amazing. If he was pull that off, that's great.
Yeah, I don't know how to get into that kind of stuff. I think it would be cool to get into, though. I'm a musician, so that's kind of all up my alley.
I saw your Beats page. Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, that's cool.
Very impressive.
Thank you. Yeah.
Did a little deep dive and saw that. Was awesome.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I think we're coming up on our time. Do you want to throw out any promotional stuff? Anything you want to get the word out on?
Yep. Just a reminder for fans who travel distance, it's worth a trip from anywhere to the Paracon, and that's www.paracon, 2 N's for Connecticut, paracon.org, which is July 20th through the 21st in Stratford, Connecticut. The Vampire Vacations we talked a lot about is www.dractours.com, DRACTOURS.com. If people want to check out all my books, including True Ghost Stories of Connecticut and the book of Top 10 Horror Lists, to definitely go online and go to Amazon and Google my name, Charles Rosene, Rosenay, and my 2 music books will come out, and my 2, monster genre books will come out.
Awesome. We'll be sure to put those links down in the description below. Mm-hmm. That way people can find your stuff a little easier.
tremendous. And please share the link with me so I can post it and get it out as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Thanks for reaching out, man. This was fun.
Yeah, we were able to make it happen, and hope we can cross paths sometime, either on a paranormal journey, or on something cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to doing that tour. I'm going to start saving up now.
Yeah, right.
Great.
But all right, Charles, you have a good day, man. Thanks again.
Great talking to you. Take care.
You too.
Have a good one.
Hey, guys.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Exploring, and we really enjoyed talking to Charles about Dracula's Castle and some of his books and his paranormal experience. We have a link in the description below for Ghost Stop. If you go to that website and purchase anything through that link, it will help support the show. If you also don't feel comfortable doing that, go to our website, exploringtheknowmpod.com, and we have a donation section, Cash App and PayPal. Send us a small donation, anything helps. And in the text box below, put a would you rather question, and we will explore that on a future episode. Don't forget also, if you have an encounter, on the website as well, there's a contact section. Type in your encounter, and there's a chance you'll be on a future episode. And don't forget to go support our YouTube, subscribe, and hit the bell button for notifications every time we post a video. PA Bigfoot Camping Adventure. September 6th and 7th in Farmington, PA. We'll be there selling merch, recording podcasts, and booking podcasts into the future.
Is that it?
That is it.
Cool. You know, there was a comment that I had seen a while back that said, so September is now at the end of the year or something like that. And I don't know why I'm addressing it, but it's been on my mind.
I mean, because technically it's at the end of the year.
I mean, technically, yeah, I can see where I'm right and they're right. You know, it's like I got 6 eggs in one hand and half a dozen in the other. You know what I mean? It's in the later third of the year, so.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. Later third or later fourth? It would be a third. How many 12? There's 12 months. 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
So it'd be the later third.
Yeah. Something like that. I don't know.
Do you have a would you rather question?
Well, I have an option.
Okay.
Do you want a thought-provoking question, or do you want the would you rather?
Do the would you rather. I like the would you rather question.
Oh, okay. Would you rather spend a night alone in Dracula's castle with the chance to uncover its deepest secrets, or have a guaranteed opportunity to meet and interview a real vampire, knowing it could be dangerous?
That's a good one. I think I'm getting with Dracula's Castle.
Yeah.
Like big chance you're not gonna get Dracula's Castle. I mean, interviewing a real vampire would be cool, but Dracula's Castle would be cool. Like it's Dracula.
Yeah, I think that would be extremely cool. I think I'm gonna go. I think like I said, I'm gonna try to save up because I think I'm gonna try to get on that tour.
Yeah, be the first paranormal investigators in there, recording and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I might have to get Renee on a plane though. I don't know how that's gonna happen, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess.
Yeah, right. Come on, Renee, you can do it. You can go on and play.
Yeah, you know, I'd like to get my pilot's license and have my own plane. That would be cool.
We can just flag a convention.
Yeah, right. Heck yeah. Oh man.
You want to be interviewed? We'll be there with our private play.
All right. Well, I don't have any more for this.
No, neither do I. See you on next week's episode of the Rosenay.
See you then.